Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Alexander Hiller here. It's time for a new gaming pickups video, the first in 3 months exactly. And from now on, I have said previously, but instead of, for example, the 9th or the 8th, 2025, because in certain parts of the world, they put the month before the day, I'm now just going to put 9th of August 2025. So now the month will actually be in the video, as to avoid any confusion when someone's watching an old video. It does not matter in the grand scheme of things. It really doesn't. I've done it this way for 13 years, but I just realised that obviously in the USA they do it that way, but maybe in a few other countries as well, they put the month before the day, and as such, that bothered me. So from now on, for example, this video, it will just say 9th of August 2025 pickups. Anyway, if you've never watched one of these very, very thrilling videos before, let me tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to talk about the last 5 video games that I purchased and what I thought of them. And they're not reviews, sometimes I've not even started the games yet. But now once a year, I used to do this on my Twitter, but I thought let's bring it to my YouTube because I may as well. I will be doing ratings on all new games that I've purchased in the previous 12 months. I do that once a year. Every February is a YouTube short from now on. Yeah, 5 to talk about today, despite that thumbnail, which will show me with 2 gaming cases. I didn't buy any physical games, just a clickbait thumbnail, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta love it. I've got 5 digital games. Welcome to 2025 to talk about. I've got one, the Xbox One, another Xbox One game on the Series X, of course. PS5 game. Xbox One again, Xbox again. I say Xbox One. There's 2 Xbox Series X games. No, 3 Xbox One games, Xbox Series X game, and a PS5 game. Who gives a shit, bald man? Just start talking and roll the VT, because you are going to see footage of a game that I rage quit, and it's the first time in quite a long time where I played a game, and I don't know if you guys have had this yourselves, but it's like you've almost got a motherfucking allergic reaction to the game. This game has a cutesy art style, a cutesy soundtrack, and it's absolutely infuriating. Now, I bought this on the cheap, and I obviously didn't realise, but when I did my research, I found out, yeah, this game is fucking annoying, and the devs knew it, and they did it on purpose. I like kind of 2D, 2.5D cutesy platformers, but I got stung by this one. The game, I put about an hour to an hour and a half in. I had no idea what I was doing, and even now, I don't know what to say as to why it was so difficult. Roll the video, because it's Unravel, where you play as a piece of yarn. That's right, a piece of yarn, ladies and gentlemen. Solving puzzles, avoiding dangerous creatures, and traversing obstacles is what Wikipedia says. And I would rather do some crochet than play this game again. It does say here it's a puzzle platformer, and very early on I realised with this game that it's kind of similar to, you know, Astro's Playroom. If you played that and Astro's going like that, and oh, right trigger, left trigger, right trigger, it's like that, only fucking infuriating and incredibly annoying. It says here some raised criticisms concerning the controls, variety of puzzles and platforming. I was stuck on every single puzzle in the first couple of hours of this game, and I was like, I think I forgot how to play video games. You know, Limbo, Inside, okay, it's not 300 IQ Mensa kind of bullshit, but those games towards the end, they had some tricky puzzles, and I've played other games I have puzzles in, and I don't need to look online. I will painstakingly brute force my way through until I've done it. I will not want to look at a guide. It's just the way that I am, and I think a lot of younger gamers don't have that mentality. But it wasn't just the aspect of puzzles, it was the aspect of, well, they are puzzles, but you are obviously a piece of yarn, and you can use yourself to grapple onto things and to tie a knot and do weird things with the physics of the game. But they were infuriating, and I looked online, and like I said, I did my research, and everyone was raging about this game. And like it says on Wikipedia, criticising controls, platforming, yeah, they were annoying. This cost me £3.75, I think it was on offer. It's an EA published game as well. Oh, that looked like I was... I'm not going to say what it looked like I was doing, but I was pretending to vomit. But it was just so annoying. And there was a sequel a couple of years later, Unravel 2, and I have no interest in playing it. And I just looked at a few different videos of people playing the game, and I was like, oh my lord, it was very kind of vague as to what you had to do. And even now, thinking back to it, it's about maybe 3 or so months since I tried to play this, I thought to myself, it can't have been that bad, surely. But I just found myself getting angered by the game. And I've played games before where I'm in a bad mood, and I remember I always spoke with Sniper Elite 3. That game put me in a bad mood, I fucking rage quit it. Came back to it years later, and I had some Nazi shooting fun, shooting with the bollocks. It was quite a good laugh. But those games are quite frustrating, to be fair. But then, years later, I bought Sniper Elite 4 thinking, certain things going to happen here, right? Shooting Nazis in the bollocks, let's have a good time. And I rage quit it. And sometimes certain games just have you in such a mood that you weren't prepared for, perhaps. And Unravel, man, have any of you guys played this game? You might be thinking, what is this bald idiot talking about? It was a cutesy game. It's a tough game, and just because it's cutesy doesn't mean that it's for kids and it can't have a high level of difficulty. But people were saying it was meant to get under your skin. It's meant to be that kind of mentality, somewhat of, you know, that getting over it with Bennett Foddy, where you've got to go up the mountain and all those kinds of games where you're meant to rage, fail, and then spend 4 hours getting back to where you were. It's like, no, I don't think so, mate. As a 35-year-old, 2025, I'm not doing that. I just haven't got the time on my hands for that bullshit. But it says here, apple-sized creature made of red yarn. It explores the world around it by it makes small everyday things Yarn, it creates rope to form bridges, pull things, and swing from items. Sounds easy. I only played an hour and a half, and like I say, I had to look online for other people's video. This game made me feel like an idiot, and who likes that? But other games have made me feel like an idiot as well, but I have respected the games because they were good. This game, the controls weren't good. It's a nice graphical style, I guess. It had some decent audio, but I rage quit it and uninstalled it, and we've all done it as gamers. And I went through a phase many years ago, around about the time of Sniper Elite 3, but 2017-18, where I was just rage quitting everything, and eventually got out of that period in time. But yeah, Unravel, certainly not for me. I do like these puzzle platformer games, but you have a look at the reviews here, 6 out of 10, 3 out of 5, and it's got some very good reviews. But I looked online, and there were, not by reviewers, but on like Game Facts and stuff like that. I know there's a lot of knuckle draggers on there, but they were saying the same thing. This game is actually low-key quite annoying, and I just wasn't prepared for it. Yeah, that's Unravel. I want to talk about it more and kind of understand as to why I was getting frustrated, but the game made me feel like an idiot. I just hated it. Absolutely hated it. Very bizarre. You will not see Unravel 2 in the next Gaming Pickups video. But next up, ladies and gentlemen, a game that is EA published again. Do I love EA or something? Holy shit. But for this one, I have to give them mad props, because in the last 10 years, I've played a lot more FPS games than I did for the previous 10 years, between 2005 and 2015. I remember watching old Gaming Pickups videos from 2013-14 on my channel, where I was saying, oh, I never play FPS games, and it's very interesting. Guts gurgling there, ladies and gentlemen. Had some pork belly today. It was bloody amazing. I had this sauce, what was it called? I don't know what it was. It's got chili flakes and sea salt and sugar in it as well. Cayenne pepper. I've never had it before. Unbelievable. Game changing for this Northern Monkeys palate. Oh my days. But enough about pork belly and food. Titanfall 2. Roll the video. And heard a lot about Titanfall 2. Would never have thought that I'd play it back in the day. Like I say, in those years where I wasn't playing FPS games. And it's interesting making these videos because I can see my taste change and I can see myself change, less her, but also the kind of games that I like and my style of making videos, etc., and all sorts of other things. But I enjoyed Titanfall 2. I heard a lot about, it's a game-changing FPS and all this bullshit, but I think that's from a multiplayer perspective. Of course, the game had a massive multiplayer fan base. I still think a lot of people play it to this day, and obviously I'm not interested in that. I'm not a multiplayer guy, but to play a linear game, story-based, 10 to 12 hours, really nice. Reminds me of the PS3 360 era. Of course, I'm a broken record. I always say that shit, but it genuinely was. And this game, let's have a look on the Wikipedia page here, ladies and gentlemen, was released October 2016. And that's around about the time when everything was going open world and linear was just dying a death and was definitely a dirty word. And I was talking about that so much, like 2017, 18, 19, 20, 20. Last like 3 or 4 years, I've just made peace with the fact that those kind of games are dead. But I'm going to say it now. Those games aren't made that much any longer, and it sucks ass. And obviously, the first Titanfall, I don't know if you guys know this, but it was just purely multiplayer. I don't know if it was a physical game, and I don't know if the servers of Titanfall 1 are still up and running. I can't even remember if it was released on the Xbox One and PS4. Oh, just Xbox One, but not PlayStation, but the sequel was on PS4. I have to say, I played this on the Series X, of course, ladies and gentlemen. The game looks and plays beautifully. I think it was 60 FPS. I'm not sure if it was like an uncapped 60 FPS plus though, because it felt really smooth, but obviously it's EA money, EA power. Graphically, wow, absolutely phenomenal. Reminiscent for me of Crysis 1 in those kind of jungle environments, on the beach as well, and where it's sun shining, absolutely glorious. There's a few moments like that, but really gameplay wise, Titanfall 2 was all about FPS gameplay, traditional FPS gameplay, assault rifle, shitloads of similar guns, kind of futuristic guns. You've got your grenades, you've got human enemies, I know there are a few other enemy types as well, but then you had the aspect of the Titanfalls themselves, and they're these big kind of robots, mini-mechs if you will, who you jump into and you can do all these different moves. And as such, it was very interesting, very enjoyable. I did enjoy Titanfall 2, but what I would like to say is that it made the game a little bit confusing. Now, from what I remember, you have eight different ways of killing enemies when you're in the mech. I don't know why I'm getting my Xbox controller here, as if you've never seen a gaming controller, but it's like RT to attack them, and it'll be a swipe, or it'll be a spear, or it'll be a gun, and LT does something else. And there was one called Ronin and Ion. They all had different names, but they didn't even make sense for what they were. What I'm trying to get at here is it became very, very confusing. And you could do all sorts of moves within the Titanfall. I can certainly see if you can do those kind of things in the multiplayer, why people really enjoyed the gameplay. And the gameplay was indeed fun, but I have to be honest, I came out of this game kind of wishing for more of the pure FPS gameplay. And it's intriguing because I played on normal difficulty, and my experience was that the FPS gunplay was very easy, and the enemies died quickly, and it didn't feel much of a challenge. And I was like, I want to feel a more aggressive kind of game here with the enemy AI, the human enemy AI exactly, but all the enemies. And it was on the easier side. And then when I was in the actual Titanfalls, the game ramped up the difficulty. All the bosses that are in the game, you are in your Titanfall, I think, at that time, during them. And those were the most frustrating moments of the game for me, when you're in the Titanfall. And I can't remember the name of your robot. I think there were upgrades, but I can't exactly remember them. They were quite simplistic, but they work well. Game sounds, looks great, serviceable, interesting story, and there was wall running as well, kind of like Mirror's Edge back in the day, but this game, another EA published game. But that game wasn't very good gameplay wise. I never enjoyed that. This game is fun, and the wall running, you can shoot your guns whilst you're doing it. And yeah, I had a good time. You know, a game like that, I'm never going to go back to again and again and again and again. But I enjoyed it. Got a lot of achievements as well. Got an achievement list. I've got like 800 gamer score out of 1,000. Put about 14, 15 hours in. Did some miscellaneous ones. And had a pretty damn good time. Very nice game to look at. Play. Bit on the easy side. And like I say, does it want to be pure FPS? Does it want to be, you know, purely in the mini-mechs, as I'm calling the Titanfalls? Because for me, the amount of moves that you can do in the Titanfalls became its undoing, and I don't know if people would have said that, but that's the way I felt. Maybe that's just me getting confused in my old age, but if you've got multiple ways of killing the enemies, and you've got to hit the pause menu and choose them. Oh, I'm going to use the flamethrower one. Oh, that was shit. No, what's that shotgun one? Oh no, where's the Gatling gun? Oh my god! It's kind of like Doom Eternal or some shit like that, but at least on that game you got a weapon wheel and you can use it and slow down time and think, right, what am I going to use here? With Titanfall 2, it was pausing the game, but I just couldn't get used to all the moves. Good game though. I enjoyed it. Fuck yeah. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, no EA involved, Bend Studio involved. A studio that have lost a lot of the team, and a studio who should have been able to make the sequel, but they weren't. And maybe one day, maybe in the winter, I'm going to bring this game to the channel as a stream or a set of streams, but I really don't know. I might put it out there as a community post, because I get the feeling that I'm going to lose subscribers if I do more streams, which is very unfortunate. Maybe I'll just stream it on my Twitch, but I honestly just don't see the point on my Twitch, because on YouTube, the stream stays up forever. It doesn't on Twitch. It disappears after 2 weeks. The game involved is Days Gone, and it is indeed the Days Gone remaster, released about April, May, about 4 or 5 months or so ago. And I knew, as soon as I heard, oh, you only have to pay £10 for the upgrade, I knew I was getting this game. And I waxed lyrical about this game. I spoke very glowingly about it when it released back in April 2019. I remember when the game got shit on at launch, I took a risk with it. I think maybe some people now might say it's gone the other way, and the kind of hate that it received has become quite the opposite, and now it's loved too much and it's overrated. I mean, it's got a lot of 8 out of 10s, it's got a lot of 80 out of 100s. I think that's fine, personally. It's a big, beautiful, ambitious game, released around the time that Sony, with God of War and Ghost of Tsushima, this game, were releasing a lot of PS4 big hitters. And the general consensus with this game was that it was just not very good at all. And, oh, it's so similar to The Last of Us. And I've spoke about this in my last Pickups video. I probably, in passing, talked about this before, but you can throw Molotovs, you've got melee weapons. Of course, Days Gone is massively inspired by The Last of Us, we know that, it's obvious, but the gameplay is very different at the same time, because one's linear, ultra linear, and the other's open world. And there's a lot of different mechanics about Days Gone that I really, really like, and it's not a survival horror game. Of course, it's an open world action game, but there are a lot of mechanics, because it's a post-apocalypse zombie world, where a lack of resources play a part. Lack of resources for your weaponry, constant crafting. I think the game gets crafting pretty damn good, and the bike mechanic with the oil. A lot of people, the gasoline, petrol as we'd call it in the UK, you've got to constantly look for petrol, or you are foobard. If you play on Survivor, there's no quick travel. Makes it feel dangerous. It makes it feel fun, and it's a tough game. But you know, you can put saddlebags on the back of your bike so you can get ammo in the wild instead of going to the merchants. There's a lot of wildlife that will attack you, but you can kill them for to sell at the camps. There are different camps that give you different items. There's a lot of plants in the game world which allow you to craft stamina cocktails, focus cocktails, and health cocktails, which all give you about a 20-30 second boost on doing all those free things. The upgrade system is set across 3 different types of upgrades. You've got your melee upgrades, your gun upgrades, and your survival upgrades. And it is not easy to know what you should upgrade first, and everything feels vital to keeping you alive. Another reason that I really enjoy Days Gone. Now, if this was a linear game, I'd have brought it to the channel already. I really would have. I'm okay at Days Gone. I've played it a good half dozen sort of times, but it's a big PlayStation Studio game, sold about 9-10 million units, and there are people out there doing things that I couldn't do, so what can I bring to the party? That's the way I feel. But yet and still, there's a trophy for completing it on Survivor. I did it on the PS4 version. I want to do it again. I've already platinumed the game a couple of months ago. There is the Horde Assault, which they released for the PS5 remaster specifically. And I will get around to that, but I've not done it yet. In a few months' time, there's a trophy for completing the game on Hard 2 or Survivor 2 difficulty. In New Game Plus, not a fan of New Game Plus, but hey, if I get a gold trophy for it, I'm not going to pass that up. So that will be the difference between 60 hours playing New Game and about 25 hours when you're just going for the main quest. So I'll do that soon. And like I say, any of you guys want to see that, I might put it up as a community post. If you guys want to see it, I will do it as a Let's Play streams on my channel. It's a bit too long to do as an actual project, as a walkthrough, but there is a trophy for it, so never say never. I might one day bring it to the channel, but I'm currently watching a guy, if you like Days Gone, I highly recommend him, a Scottish gentleman called Borislav247. Interesting name for a Scotsman, Boris, but maybe that's not his real name, his username, I don't know, of course, but very, very cool commentary. He's currently doing permadeath. Yeah, that's right. They introduced permadeath to Days Gone. Now, if anybody completes that, regardless of how they manage to do it, you can upload that as a walkthrough then. But it's a very long game, and I'm going to try to do it, but fucking hell, it's 60 hours long. I mean, and it will change the way that you have to approach the game permadeath, because Days Gone is a game that's all around strategy of the hordes and strategy on killing the human enemies. The human AI is not great. The Freaker, as they're called in the game, the zombie AI, it's okay, but it could be better. But Days Gone is so close to being amazing. It's just a very good game. But for me personally, if I could play Days Gone or Last of Us forever, I'd choose Last of Us, because The Last of Us Ungrounded has got a really intense feel and a dangerous feel, whereas Days Gone, you can roll around the ground, which is a bit silly. You can roll out of danger, even on the hardest difficulty, in my opinion. It's not as difficult as The Last of Us, but the thing is with Days Gone, there are so many ways that you can die, and then there are main missions. You know, it does suffer from that Ubisoft kind of game design of clearing out 60 million camps and then doing this, that and other, clearing out the map, but it makes it fun. And there are a lot of mechanics that, like the stamina system itself, people don't like stamina gauges, but there are mechanics in this game which you have to respect, and that's why I like the game. Don't respect the mechanic, you're going to get fucked up. Simple as that. But I've also heard people dying in permadeath through falling through the floor, shit like that. Said it before, say it again. Permadeath. Let me choose my saves. Give me limited saves like Dead Space 2 or Evil Within 2, man. Fucking hell. But yeah, Days Gone Remastered. I've not even looked on the Wikipedia page. Don't need to, because I know, quite a lot about the game. And I have to say, Deacon St. John, the character of Deacon St. John, the way that he's talking to himself all the time is hilarious and enduring. And it's one of the things I disagree with. A lot of people didn't like his character. Didn't like Sam Witwer's performance. I thought it was fantastic. And that is exactly what you would be like in a zombie apocalypse. You can't be out with anyone's bullshit, talking to himself all the time. It was funny. The dialogue in that game was funny. But yeah, that's Days Gone Remastered. And guys, how are we not seeing a Days Gone 2? Indicative of how shit modern gaming is. It truly is. But next up, ladies and gentlemen, is a game that was inspired by one of my favourite movies of all time. And your boy Alexander Hilly, he's not a big moviegoer. And I once thought maybe I should upload a video of my 10 favourite movies of all time. But I'd probably get loads of movie buffs. And in my previous jobs and friends I've had down the years, they love like film and movies and all kinds of different kind of left of field, you know, non-Hollywood movies. Or indie style and production values and money spent, etc. But it's just not an art form that I like. Music is my thing. If you can't tell, well, he's on my head, literally 24/7. But it's American Arcadia, the game, and the film that it was inspired by was The Truman Show, released I think in 1998, I want to say, with Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey, there's been quite a lot of like suspicious rumours about Jim Carrey, but you get that in this cancel culture these days where people are getting cancelled and they've legitimately done no wrong. It's like, oh, I bet that guy's a nonce, and I bet that guy's a paedophile. It's like, what the fuck, man? The mind boggles. How can you... I don't know, just say things like that. I think there were a few things that he did were a bit sus. I don't know, I'm not bothered about celebrity culture. I think he's a very good actor though, a very good comedic actor, but I also think he's a very good serious actor. He was also in A Beautiful Mind, wasn't he? Was it Beautiful? No, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe. Not big on films. They were both released during the same time though, in the early 2000s, I do believe. But American Arcadia, ladies and gentlemen, let me just explain. You've seen a shot of the video, though, where we're running away from the bad guy, who is actually a paid actor. A lot of humour in this game, and a lot of fourth wall breaking. And let me tell you, if you like the voice of Mr. Yuri Lowenthal, who doesn't, he's voiced many characters in many games before. He started doing Eastern European, because I think that is his heritage, voices in the old Stalker games and the Metro games, and then in the last 10 to 15 years he's been on so much. He's in Last of Us doing kind of, you know, NPC voices. He's Joseph in the masterpiece that is The Evil Within. He's Spider-Man now. So many games. So when I knew that he was the the main character you play as in this game, I was like, oh, that'll help me play. That'll be cool, because he is a fantastic voice actor and he does a good performance in this game. But American Arcadia, gameplay wise, you've got the puzzle platformer 2D perspective of playing as the character that Yuri plays, Mr. Trevor Hills, but you also have first person gameplay as well, when you play as this lady called Angela Solano, who is trying to help Trevor escape American Arcadia. And I don't know how much I should spoil in regards to the story. Obviously, it's very story heavy. If you're intrigued by it, then I would say skip on to the next game we talk about, perhaps. But I don't want to give the whole game away, but it's about the fourth wall. It's about The Truman Show. The Truman Show was a guy whose whole life has been recorded for TV, and everybody is watching him all day, every day, and he doesn't know it. And he finds out at the end of the film. I've got a few goosebumps just thinking about it. And it's kind of unrealistic, but at the same time, kind of makes sense in today's culture of reality TV as to why something like that would be made. Probably a bit before its time, to be honest with you, that film. And American Arcadia, it's quite dystopian as well. But basically, long story short, they're trying to kill off Trevor because he's so goddamn boring. And they go to these jobs, all these people, and it's all a lie. The job is a lie, the whole life is a lie, and they're told they win this kind of bullshit holiday. He's going to be killed off. Angela gets in touch with Trevor, and before you know it, you're getting involved in all these kind of crazy capers to escape. Now, the main mechanic, gameplay-wise, is Angela can open up doors and shutters and gates. She can use her phone as a hacking tool to manipulate things for Trevor to go up or down levels on a kind of a forklift truck, for example, or you can turn lights on and off so he will or won't be detected. You move Trevor, and that's the main gist of the gameplay. There's some pretty interesting, unique puzzles. There is an element of trial and error. There will be certain times where you will die and you will not know what to do, and then the first time round, and then you will the next time. But I don't necessarily mind when a game has a little of that, especially if the checkpoints are just like 10 seconds before where you died. It doesn't matter then. But yeah, graphical style's nice, game's audio is great, the voice acting's great, the story is its selling point. Some really kind of sad moments, some beautiful moments, some hilarious moments, and the ending, I think it was pretty well done overall. There was a few plot twists as well that you won't see coming. It was a cleverly written game, and it's an indie game as well. I think it was a Spanish studio who made this game. So overall, American Arcadia was really cool. But I remember this being at 2022. I look back on my channel, I was reacting to it, and then I totally forgot about it. And I'll tell you why. Because this game was released first on PC and only came out on consoles about 4 months ago. But it's not a game that you look at and think, oh, it makes sense as to why that would be on PC first. I don't understand why it wasn't released on console until this year, because that's money being lost for the devs at the time. No idea, very bizarre. But maybe we'll get a sequel to that game, or maybe we'll get another game from those devs. If you like how it sounds, though, ladies and gentlemen, quite a unique game, I think, even though we've seen a lot of those puzzle platformer games by now. I do recommend it. There are some frustrations with the controls, though, but overall, it's a nice experience. And the last game I'm talking about is a game I just completed today. A game that had the heart rate going a little bit. A game where the devs obviously sat down and thought, you know what? That Hotline Miami 2, I think it's a bit too easy. Bit too easy? What the bloody hell are you talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, roll the video. It's the Hong Kong Massacre, and it most certainly was a massacre, is a massacre. I've spent about 5 days playing this game now, just completed it today, 14 out of 19 achievements, and I am very happy to say I'm not going to get the next 5 because the achievements which I need to get are absolutely sadistically difficult. That's the word we're using, sadistically difficult. This game is balls freaking hard. It is purely Hotline Miami inspired in terms of its, you know, it's trying to give you a great groovy soundtrack but with a gritty feel. A story that's not as interesting as Hotline Miami. Gameplay that, although it is inspired by Hotline Miami, isn't as fun as Hotline Miami. You can't talk about this game without talking about Hotline Miami. But it's a fun experience, but it's so weird how this game has a more kind of realistic look to Hotline Miami. It looks a bit more graphically impressive, of course. It follows what that game does. Look, you've got a handgun, you've got a shotgun, you've got a rifle, you've got an Uzi. You're going to get killed in one shot. There's sub-bosses. You know, you slowly open the door, peer out, blast them. Ultra violent. You got slowdown, like Max Payne bullet time. It heavily is inspired by probably the recent John Wick movies as well. This was in production around the time that that first movie came out, I think. But yeah, it's a fun game. If you liked Hotline Miami, if you like shooter games from a top-down perspective, whatever they may be, I think you'll get some joy out of this game. But holy shit, is it hard. And it's one of those that the percentage for completing the game on Xbox is 2%. But yet again, it's another one of those games that came out earlier on one system. It came out on PS4 in 2019. Only came out on the Xbox earlier this year, I think, or last year. So never played it before. Obviously got a PlayStation, but I tend to buy things first time on Xbox. But yeah, fun game. But I wouldn't say the last half of the game, maybe the last third of the game, it ramps up the difficulty, and I was starting to lose my fucking mind. I was zoning out. I was putting my own music on to help me relax and just stay focused. You don't really need the audio on. The audio's good. It's not Hotline Miami level good. But yeah, oh my days, they introduced these enemies that can take 2 hits because they got bulletproof vests on, but you could never take 2 hits. They start diving around, and I became convinced that the enemies, the bullets were getting faster. It's hilarious. But there are challenges in this game which are the same for all the levels, and I think there's about 30 to 35 levels. The way the game works is 6 levels, boss. 6 levels, boss. And you can go back and replay the levels again, and you can try to do them in a speedrun time. The game will give you 2 minutes. Complete the level in 2 minutes, and we'll give you an extra point, an extra skill point, basically. Complete the level without using any slowdown, we'll give you another skill point. Complete the level without missing a target, so every shot's got to hit. That's the most devastatingly hard one. And I did about 3 or 4 altogether. Even if you don't do any, you will be able to upgrade your guns relatively well. Your upgrades across the pistol, shotgun, Uzi, and rifle are like more movement speed, especially with a shotgun, an extra clip in the guns. There's no firepower because your guns will kill enemies in 1 bullet. But for me, I'm going to tell you a bit of advice if you're going to play this game. Grind for the dual Uzis in the SMG. I'm telling you, once you start dual wielding those, it's a game changer. Frustrating as hell, but very fun. Glad I played it. I paid £4 for it, guys. It's not expensive now. Balls hard. Up there with the hardest games I've ever played. Probably in between Hotline Miami 1 and 2 in terms of difficulty. Hotline Miami 1 was naturally difficult. Hotline Miami 2 was insane at times and was poorly designed. Like getting shot off screen in that game is like, oh, just lost 10 minutes of progress. Didn't see that guy off screen, did I? Wonderful. But yeah, a lot of fun though. Frustrating in equal measure. I don't know if there's anything else to talk about with the Hong Kong Massacre. In regards to its story, like I say, it's a little bit more simplistic than Hotline Miami, and you don't get the masks as well that you get with that game that can change the gameplay up. A studio who made that are called Vresky. It doesn't say where they're from, but it sounds kind of Eastern European to me, like Slovakian or something. I don't know why I'm being so specific though, but yeah, I'm not sure where they're from. But it got a lot of, got 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 70 out of 100. I can totally understand that. Hotline Massacre, I'm going to call it, and Hong Kong Massacre, ladies and gentlemen. So there we have it. Under 40 minutes. I mean, these videos are so long, and I think, I should have said that. I'll never be content, will I, with what I'm saying. Hey, it's getting dark. Autumn is rolling in. Ladies and gentlemen, what have we got up on the channel soon? Well, I've got my Streets of Rage 2 remake. I've had a little look, and basically, I did Streets of Rage 1 recently on my channel. Streets of Rage 2 looks like the enemies are exactly the same, and it's more of a remaster than a remake, to be honest with you. But I'm still going to bring it to the channel because they've redone the music, and I know the AI will be different as well, so it might be a little tougher. Because Streets of Rage 1 is hard, but Streets of Rage 2 is quite easy. So yeah, Streets of Rage 2 remake to come. I am reviewing some more crisp, ladies and gentlemen. Not new Walker's flavours, but new McCoy's. Something I've always done on the channel, do random crisp reviews. I have thought about doing other food reviews as well, but I just can't be arsed at the moment. Like I said before, I had some pork belly today. Tesco started selling it with teriyaki sauce and this other seasoning. It was bloody amazing. I still can't get over it how good it was. Sea salt, cayenne pepper, probably paprika in it as well as in bloody everything else. Chili flakes, but that mixture of chili flakes and sugar, the heat and the sugar, the sweetness. You can't beat Asian food, ladies and gentlemen. Curries, stir fries, salad tomorrow, stir fry Sunday. I'm living like a king. It's 39 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to end this at 40 minutes exactly, so I've got a bit of free time. Woo! As soon as it's 40 minutes, I'm going to end it. What else have I got, though, coming up on the channel? Vinyl pickups will be coming in the next couple of months, and then after that there'll be another quick fire one. So vinyl pickups are coming back. I am going to lose access to the internet when I move back home. It will be ready in October, I do believe. So yeah, but thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.